sometimes you feel that the financial education or financial literacy is completely missing. Financial literacy, how to handle, how to deal with with money, with wealth is something that is not
Value of
really
money.
exactly the value going out of university, of school, and starting having their first salary, how to manage that. That's not something that you learn in school. Uh,
Yeah.
Talking in public, that are aspect that you have in life as an adult, and that maybe during the school time, uh, the importance is not that much given to it. Or even if it's tennis, when you kick a ball that is waiting, it's important that it's really smooth. That is where you really touch the, how we call it, the sweet spot of the ball and the bat that you have. And
The perspective of the multicultural living and how that helps in your opinion about education for kids. Your kids have, of course, born in Germany, then India, and then now here. What changes would you like to see in the way children are today educated to be better in the globalized, ever-changing world?
That's a very big question. So I think that if we look around, no matter in which area of the world we have great teachers and people in the education system who really sacrifice a lot to make sure that our kids learn something,
Yeah.
and that they go through life successfully. So therefore, I think that it's also important to recognize that first. Um, and in my humble opinion, to say something that can change in the education system is, I think that certainly I will not be able to really change that or see that, because I see many positive things. On the other side, um, what I see that sometime when we are in life, like we are now living as an adult, um, even with university degree or doctor degree or professors, sometimes you feel that the financial education or financial literacy is completely missing. So, and that is something that is, less focused in the school system today. Um, so I think that certainly wealth creation, um, financial literacy, how to handle, how to deal with with money, with wealth is something that is not
Value of
really
money.
exactly the value of money is not really very much highlighted in the school system today.
Okay.
So even if you take people coming out of university or school and starting having their first salary, how to manage that, that's not something that you learn in school. And then over time, after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, going to retirement and still maybe not able to save, to, to manage that properly. I think that's something that will also help the society, to help people be more financially solid in going through life. And of course, that is one part. On the other side, I also think that presentation skills, uh,
Yeah.
talking in public, that are aspect that you have in life as an adult, and that maybe during the school time, uh, the importance is not that much given to it. Certainly, there are some schools there outside that are already offering that. In general, that is an aspect that I think that this type of skills that you need in life, how to talk, how to convince people, how to present, express yourself, resilience, how to teach resilience, of course. It's not only about having success and success. It's also okay to fail. And when we fail, we can stand up again and continue. Don't give up. But today, when someone fails, it feels like it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
For me, sometimes I think it's also a learning process. So to say, okay, I do not have enough knowledge here, maybe I need to repeat it, and it's not end of life. So even maybe not only as an educational assistant, maybe as a parent, that is also
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that we need to reflect on, and to not just expect that everything is going year after year.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right. I think multicultural, like in an international school where the kids coming from different background, the challenge is also about adapting. Like it takes a while to adapt. And in the past episodes, I've come across that resilience and adaptability are two different words. And the kid can, the school, of course, need to highlight. Um, I think they do it about resilience. Kids are taught to be resilient enough, but it's also the individual kid how he or she takes it.
Mm.
But adaptability is something that also individual. It takes time for kids to adapt to certain, not just um, we call it soft skill behaviors, and then the one which is more the curriculum based. Uh, and like your kids, I think they must have taken some time to adapt to um, the school in Australia, in Melbourne, then in India, and also, of course, in Germany. If I'm not wrong, in Germany, they were in German schools. So from there, coming to India was English school, and then from there to now here is also.
Yes, I think that certainly if we focus on that, that's sometimes when you move around, we put the focus on the kids more than maybe even on the parents, because they also need to adapt and adjust. And my experience so far with all the different moves that we have had is that the kids have been able to adapt and adjust quite earlier and faster,
Okay.
even compared to us as parents, because what the kids needs are friends to play
Right.
at a certain age.
Yeah.
To have, even at the beginning when we moved from Germany to India, they were not speaking English at all. So the first, English words they have learned in India, and within 6 months, even at home, the language that we were talking or that they were talking to each other had changed, switched from German, French, then to English. And nowadays, that's now the language between all of them. So it means that the speed that the kids have to learn a new language or to acquire new skill sets, it's really amazing. And sometimes we have to cross this process and let it go, because discovering is not only the school, it's also what you do outside of the school, playing
Yeah.
in the neighborhood with other children, in the sport activities that they do, non-schooling activities.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
where you're really in an environment where you learn the culture, learn about the culture, and the language is the first vehicle of a
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. Not willing to say that, yeah, challenges or difficulties are not existing. Of course, we need to be prepared to it, and also prepare the children and listen to them and support them and be present. Talk to the teachers, talk to other families. That helps a lot to adapt when you move into a new environment.
In this, I have maybe it's my personal observation. I feel like there's a difference between EQ and IQ, right? Emotional question and intelligent question, and more, all of us tend to really focus on the intelligent part. The kid needs to have that many scores or that curriculum or uh, the coaching, extracurricular activities, sports. That is true, but I feel emotionally to make the kids stronger, that is not part of the school as one of the major subject or say. If we see in the school you have all kinds of subjects, but when it comes to handling emotions, they start with it in the kindergarten and the primary. I'm not too sure how long do they keep it on, and how does one really they move on from one class to the other, but how do they know emotionally if they are well equipped to take on the pressure? I'm not too sure if all schools are doing it. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about that?
So I think that's certainly a, a big question and also a difficult question to
Personally,
answer, in a school. So I think that dealing with emotion, even you will see senior, experienced people, wise people in life that have challenged with managing their emotions. Right, so therefore, these extracurriculum activities, if it's sport, if it's music, if it's art, that is where you are really tested in life, and that is also where you can develop such type of skills.
Okay.
Indeed, in the school programs that are existing today, different type of such activities are there where they have group works and where they can face that, right? Because for the children or for the kids, that's their ecosystem at this time.
Yeah.
And certainly also there they have a lot of emotions that they have to deal with already.
So which means like sports really does teach a lot.
Yes,
Just
I
the
think
physical
so.
activity, right? There is quite a lot of emotions in it that you need to handle, whether it is part of team, as you said, strategy, dealing with failures, if at all
Right.
your tournament that you fail, and that is something, yeah,
that partially exists today, in a school or in a society, and even the children are human, right? Human beings, and human beings have emotion, and I think that no matter how small they are, so I see it even with the small kids that we have already on the first, second days after birth, you see, the personality of the character of the individual is shining. And certainly it will be a huge burden to say that we have to correct it or we have to prepare all of it at school only.
Yeah.
Something that we also as parents needs to give support there with the education that we give to the kids at home or whatever they do as additional activities to know themselves, right? Because again we come back to this question of know yourself, which strength you have and which weaknesses you have. Some at a very young age are really already able to deal well with emotions and some less.
Yeah.
So therefore I think it's really a mix that the school can do better maybe by intensifying this type of activities and the parent also by having kids doing extracurricular activities. I think that helps.
Yeah. What is your opinion of kids being an expat? They go for private school. From private school, do you think it is very difficult to move to public school? Like in your case, I think you're very lucky that you moved from English private school to public school in Melbourne, which is okay. But did you really notice that there were a lot of questions that you had to yourself check with you and your wife, discussion about it?
Yes, I think that when you relocate, certainly with a family, that is one of the first questions that come through your mind. So, how to make sure that the education, the formal education of the children is not impacted negatively. So, how to make sure that the transition is smooth, and of course, the school that you select is one of the certainly the key factor, right? So when we moved from Germany, speaking German and French at home, and moving to India without English skills, for the children, it was important, of course, to have them learning English beside the school. So it means that they have been having additional hours of English to learn the language.
Yeah.
and to accelerate, the understanding for the first 6 months.
Okay.
And then afterwards, it was becoming easier. So when we then moved, yeah, from it was private school there in India. I think that the term private is it's an international school, let me say.
Yeah.
So where you have children from different background, different countries moving to a certain location because of work of the parent.
Yeah.
So it means the context that makes this transition easier for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was let me say a very very important factor. And of course, you move somewhere for maybe 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years for some people, even only for 12 months. And then it's the question, when you go back to your home country,
Yeah.
how will that continue with the education of the children? So I think that is a question that gives a lot of parents a lot of headache.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's valid and it's important to think about it. On the other side, I will also say to not overthink it, because depending on the age of the children, as I say, they learn very fast, and even when they go back, maybe they will have to spend some time again learning the mother tongue.
Yes.
Because being abroad, even if we speak these languages at home, it's not the same thing than going to a school where you have it as a normal language. So there are some gaps, and what we also try to do is to see how to close these gaps. Just taking language as an example,
Yeah.
it can be also maths, it can be
Specific subjects.
specific subjects. So where we also try to put children in extracurriculum activities, for them to to learn, maybe getting
Reintegrate.
books. Exactly.
Reintegration is, I think, also not just culturally, like when people are away from their home country, they need to reintegrate
Yeah,
to their home country, but also reintegrating to the school system,
that's
school
correct.
curriculum.
Yeah. So, and to ease it, this type of activities can be organized. On the other side is also a lot of pressure that maybe
Yeah.
we put on the kids and even the parent, because you have to organize all of it. So it needs to be balanced from my point of view,
Yeah.
because we also need to let the children live their life or be a children, and
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
to spend time on learning 6 hours at school, and then at the home it's again 6 hours of learning
Yeah.
something else, because we are thinking about the home country where we'll go back afterwards. So I think that is also important to have that in mind, to try to do something that the kids want, that helps them, but also to keep the balance, to live your life and to let the kids also live their lives, by doing activities that they also enjoy.
That's a fantastic way of looking and balancing and giving your best at the end of the day, right? Because not it's not like we have figured it out 100%. It happens. You evolve in the process, and in the process you find ways solution, because in the beginning it does look like a challenge, right, and headache, as you said, for a lot of parents. But you just have to look for solution. But it is a very good opportunity to take on, and it's one should not miss, I feel, exploring the world as an expat, and even letting your children explore the world. That's an opportunity I think one should always grab.
Yeah, and I think that the other side also, when we overthink too much of when I will go back,
Yeah.
this time will come, but sometimes we don't know when it will come. So even in our case,
Yeah.
we were going to India for 3 years, it becomes 5 years, and then we're planning to go back, then it's not back to Germany, it's now moving to another country, and you don't know actually what will happen in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years time. And if you focus everything on thinking about it, maybe the kids are even already grown out of this age, and will not go back into the school system that maybe you have in mind as a parent, because it's your home country. So yeah, so therefore it's legitimate to think about it, having some ideal strategy on the other side, also to not forget about
Yeah.
that the center of your life is where you live actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Home is where you are currently.
Exactly. Yes.
In my opinion. So how do I make sure that where am I'm well integrated, or the kids are in the system, well integrated in the system. That is for me the priority number one, and not to be here and think about something that will come in 10 years and forget to be present, to live in the present.
Yeah, to live in the present, or to live with your roots where it is, and then keep in mind that those are your roots. So be rooted to your home country, but at the same time understand and accept that you have been routing from rooted and routed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm coming to the last question actually with this.
Yeah.
We touched on this topic about how sport teaches you some
Yeah.
lessons, right?
Yeah.
You play golf, and
Yeah.
I think yesterday we were speaking about you were explaining how the lessons that you learn from golf,
Yeah.
and you apply it, right?
Yeah.
The impact of when you're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
Can you tell the audience about that? Because that was really interesting.
Yeah.
The, the pressure that you give when you're
Yeah.
hitting the ball.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be super hard.
Yeah.
When it is super hard,
Yeah, okay.
and that impact really can change the direction of the ball, because
Yeah.
that is interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I think but maybe that is a parallel that we can also have really in life. I think it's not only about golf, right? So it's about
Exactly.
any type of sport
Yes.
where you use a bat to play. For golf, it's a club. Maybe for soccer or football, you need to use your feet. I also play soccer. I also used to play that when I was very young, and or even if it's tennis, when you kick a ball that is waiting, it's important that it's really smooth. That is where you really touch the, how we call it, the sweet spot of the ball and bat that you have. And it's not about tension or force. It's about the smoothness of your golf club and the ball, as well as maybe your foot and the ball when you are kicking the ball. So at this point, it needs to be in full harmony.
Yeah.
Right. So and this harmony is also how you are in your mind. So if you think that by putting a lot of force into it, maybe you are completely missing the point and doing the wrong thing. And that is an analogy that I also see in our lives. If you want to achieve something and you put so much effort and only working hard without thinking on how to work maybe smart and how to touch the spot to get where you want to get, that is really, really important.
And I think you besides the sports, you also of course have the sources, as they are the books. You read so many books.
Yeah.
I've seen, of course, Simon Sinek. I've seen Robin Sharma book, just lying down in your closet in the office space. Do you really think these books are the crucial point for any leader to move ahead, or is it the practical experience also teaches? Or do you think a combination of both, like, okay, look at these references and also your own practical experiences will help you to become a much better leader? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think that is certainly a combination of both, because you need to be inspired, right? So you need some source of inspiration to discover maybe how other people do it, how other people, what they have experienced, they have noted it down somewhere, and usually that are books. Maybe their personal experience or something that they have learned from others, or maybe that they have imagined, right? So, and I think that these books helps you to see things, to see the world from different perspective, and then it's up to you to see how to put it into practice. Because at the end, it's a big difference between just reading and reading for the sake of reading, and to learn from it and maybe implement one or two things that you learn out of each book. So for me, the main motivation is really to see different perspectives, and to get inspired.
Well, I am clearly very much inspired with your journey, with the way you look at life, personal, professional, the way you are parenting your children. And these perspectives, I'm sure, are going to help and inspire the others who are watching and tuning in, because there are a lot of people who really have questions about education, as we covered today, to personally, like, what do you do for your own personal growth? So this was a great episode that we covered. I'm glad that we did it. It was really almost impossible,
Yeah.
but okay, we made it possible, you see.
Yeah.
An impossible thing made possible with minimal intervention and recording in your house. Thank you so much for that, Landry.
Thank you very much, Sabia, for the interaction. Really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
that.
I enjoyed
And I
it.
hope the one or other listener who took something positive
Yeah,
out of
sure.
the discussion.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.